I feel like definitely we deserve to be paid more percentage, and everyone will be happy with.
$10 million, 15 names on the Sportico list of the highest paid women in sport, and a 20-year-old ranked number 20 in the world whose name appears on none of it, even as the figure being whispered about her endorsement portfolio matches the cutoff dollar for dollar. Alex Eala did not make the 2025 Sportico Rich list, but the number circulating around her, reportedly north of $10 million in cumulative brand money, is the exact same number that got Coco Gauff, Aryna Sabalenka, and Iga Swiatek onto it in the first place. And if you believe what has been circulating this week about the reigning world number one's reaction to that figure, the woman sitting on top of women's tennis has questions no one in her camp is willing to answer on the record. If you have been tracking this rivalry since the April interview, no American outlet bothered to cover, subscribe, and settle the debate with the rest of us. Here is the detail almost every headline is missing. Eala's Nike deal was signed in 2019. Her Globe Telecom partnership dates back to when she was 8 years old, years before she ever hit a professional main draw ball. The sponsors were locked in before the wins were, which is why, when she finally captured her first WTA singles title in Washington on August 3, 2025, the commercial machine had already been running for more than a decade, and the tennis world suddenly had to explain a phenomenon it had never bothered to price. Then came the screenshot. A post allegedly attributed to Aryna Sabalenka has been circulating in Filipino tennis groups, claiming Eala's Miami run was, quote, more about luck and biased umpires than pure skill. No original post has been archived. Sabalenka's team has not addressed it. It is, for now, reportedly circulating as nothing more. But the reason it caught fire is not the quote itself. It is the pattern behind it. Because at the exact moment Eala's endorsement figures started dominating Philippine media, the reigning world number one was in New York telling ESPN that players might need to boycott a Grand Slam overpay. The optics do not require a fabricated quote to feel damning. The optics are already in the public record. Start with what Sportico actually published. Their 2025 list of the 15 highest paid female athletes has a cutoff of $10.1 million. 10 of those 15 are tennis players. Sabalenka sits at number 2 overall with $30 million in combined earnings. Eala is not on the list. That is the reveal the internet has run with, an omission, not a confirmation. The $10 million figure for Eala originates from Tennis 365, which estimated her cumulative sponsorship earnings over 5 years exceed $15 million once Nike, Babolat, Globe Telecom, and BPI are added up. It is an estimate. But it is an estimate large enough that the WTA's own audited rankings can no longer contain the story. Now stack it against a pattern the sport has already validated. Zheng Qinwen's Olympic gold in Paris unlocked $19 million in Chinese endorsements. Coco Gauff currently sits at $23 million in endorsements alone. National Hero unlocks new market. That is not theory. That is the playbook Sportico itself has documented for 2 straight years. Eala is not an anomaly. She is the Southeast Asian chapter of a template the sport already prints money with, which is why the second Sabalenka quote matters more than the first one. In April 2025, the world number one sat down with ABS-CBN's Dian Castillejo for the Born for Center Court documentary and spoke warmly about Eala, praising her game, her composure, her future in the sport. That video is on YouTube. It is verified. It is not a rumor. 5 months later, at the 2025 U.S. Open, the same Sabalenka told ESPN a boycott might be needed so players could claim a larger share of slam revenue. By May of 2026 at Roland Garros, she had escalated it. Reuters confirmed the players' push for 22% revenue share, up from the current sub-15%. Sabalenka herself banked $30 million in 2025, and she was still publicly demanding more. Here is the collision Filipino fans saw before anyone in the mainstream tennis press acknowledged it. The highest paid female tennis player on earth spent 2025 arguing that the sport does not pay its athletes what they are worth, while the 20-year-old she had praised on Filipino television was quietly being paid, without a Grand Slam, without a top 10 ranking, without a single WTA 1000 trophy, exactly what the market had decided she was worth. The community that watched Eala's DC final at midnight Manila time was not imagining the tension. They were seeing it before the industry admitted it existed. Consider the source of the warmest early endorsement Eala has ever received. Two-time defending year-end world number 1, winner of the 2025 U.S. Open over Amanda Anisimova, a career prize money total north of $45 million, second all-time on the WTA behind only Serena Williams, reached 9 finals in a single season, broke Serena's 2013 single-season prize money record with $15 million in on-court winnings alone. That is the resume of the person who, on Filipino national television in April 2025, spoke about Alex Eala's future in tennis with what can only be described as genuine respect. Eala Sabalenka herself flagged Eala as a coming force in the sport, on the record, on camera, months before the DC Open trophy existed, which means whatever the fanbase is projecting onto the September boycott comments, they are projecting it onto a woman who, when asked directly, has already validated the exact player she is now rumored to resent. The narrator does not have to accuse her of anything. Her own timeline does the work. Sportico's own numbers reveal the deeper structural story. 10 of the 15 highest-paid female athletes on the planet play tennis, but every single one of them is Chinese, American, or European. Not one is Southeast Asian. Not one comes from a market where the government's entire 2025 national sports budget, $23.3 million per front office sports, is barely larger than a mid-tier American college football program's NIL pool. Eala is not just a player. She is a geography the WTA has never monetized before, and the tour knows it, which is why WTA's own social channels amplified her DC Open run with a fervor usually reserved for top 5 players. Watch what comes next. The 2026 Miami Open, where Eala must defend the semifinal points that first ignited her breakout. The 2026 DC Open, where she returns as the defending champion, and Indian Wells, where the American market gets its first real look at whether the crowds follow the sponsorship money. 3 tournaments, 3 chances for the on-court results to catch the off-court valuation, or for the gap between them to become the loudest story in women's tennis. None of this is to say the road has been clean. 21 days after lifting the DC Open trophy, Eala was on the ground in New York with a shoulder injury that had already forced her out of Cincinnati and out of Monterey. She asked her fans publicly for patience. She said she could not keep pushing herself the way she had. Then on August 26, 2025, she walked onto an outer court at Flushing Meadows and beat Clara Towson 6-3, 2-6, 7-6 in the deciding tiebreak 13 points to 11, physically compromised, mentally uncracked. 21 days from a career-defining title to a career-defining win on one of the sport's biggest stages on a shoulder that was not fully healed. The Sportico list did not include her name. The Globe Telecom deal was signed when she was 8. The warm Sabalenka interview happened in April. The boycott rhetoric arrived by September. And the shoulder that nearly ended her summer held up long enough to win a third-set tie-break in New York. The story is not whether Aryna Sabalenka went off about $10 million in sponsorships. The story is that a 20-year-old ranked 20th in the world has become the mirror. The highest-paid woman in tennis cannot stop being asked about. And the Filipino fans who spotted this collision months ago were reading the market more accurately than the analysts covering it. So here is the question worth staking a claim on. Is Alex Eala's off-court value now running ahead of her on-court results, and will a top 5 player be the first to say so publicly at a Grand Slam in 2026? Drop your prediction in the comments and name the player. If you have been tracking this rivalry since the April interview, no American outlet bothered to cover, subscribe, and settle the debate with the rest of us. Miami is coming. DC is coming. And when a top 5 voice finally says on the record what the internet has been whispering for a year, this is where the receipts will be waiting.